flying right through the heart of a black hole, harnessing the energy of the Big Bang, shooting along tunnels through space-time itself. We could be heading back to the future sooner than you think. I'm Dr. Michio Kaku. I'm a theoretical physicist and a science fiction fan. Join me as I show you how to make sci-fi science. Imagine rocketing thousands of years into the future, or flicking a switch and hurtling back into history. I'm going to show you how to build a time machine. My design really will have to do just what those crazy inventions from the movies can do. Travel to the future and travel to the past. I need to be able to set the date I want to travel to. And of course, I need to get back to the present. I don't want to end up stranded forever.
Right then, the TARDIS might be the most famous time machine ever, but it's certainly not the coolest. That honour could only go to one vehicle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it goes.
Oh, then, Marty. It's a bit chilly, isn't it?
It's a bit.
And Jason looks like
Travel through time, but I can't control the weather.
Now then, we know that, you know, this is the coolest sort of version, but in the original film, Back to the Future, they weren't going to use the DeLorean, were they?
No, they were originally going to have it in a fridge. That was going to be a refrigerator was going to be the time travel thing. But they were a bit worried about kids kind of climbing in and sort of trying to travel in time. So, yeah. This
now, famously, the car goes to 88 mile an hour to head back to the future. What's making this thing?
Now this only goes on the speedo up to 85 miles an hour because that was to do with the American law because the speed limit's 55. So they wanted it to look like you were going faster. So.
Oh, OK.
OK, and is there even the tiniest possibility that time travel is possible?
Now, in the film, they talk about wormholes and stuff like that. So, and it's theoretically possible if you sort of stretch them out and you go at the speed of light and stuff like this. But it ain't going to happen. And if you want to go back in time, forget it. It can't be done. It can't be done.
Well, lovely. That was a bit disappointing, wasn't it? To be honest with you.
But you can't go back. Theoretically,
if you could go back, where would you go back to, Ross?
I think I'd go back to 1966 to Wembley. Because I think it's the only time we're ever going to win the World Cup on present form.
That's fair enough.
Harsh.
So 25 years. What I found quite interesting, I don't know if you can see this, is that here we are, 9th of the 11th. That's as far forward as we can go.
So even if we
that's
go
the road.
forward...
The road tax only takes to September next year.
Right, there
so
we are.
It doesn't matter what you type in. Legally, we can only go to September.
And if you could go back, where would you go back to, Jess?
Me, I'd go back to yesterday because I don't get sick pay. Well, we couldn't really. We could have a go in this, aren't we?
I think we're going to have to get in.
I'd love to.
Let's go, mate. Let's go.
There's only 2 seats. Are we going to fit in there?
Well, me and you are getting that, and you can pop in there.
I'll stay in the cold here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go.
You go.
Thank you.
In the car.
Right.
Actually, this is fantastic.
Well, Ross's new book, Warriors, is out now. Tomorrow on the show, we've got the fantastic Brian Ferry. Right. In I can, make room. What do you do with glasses on? Oh.
We're in. See you later, buddy.
How come you get to drive this thing anyway, Ross?
I got my agent to ring up.
What's that then?
It's the gear stick. Do you even know how to drive a DeLorean?
Don't be silly, I used to steal cars for a living.
OK, here we go. 30 years into the future.
Can we stop in the services?
What does this button do?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we are, May the 19th, 2010, the 25th anniversary of Domino's Pizza in the UK and Ireland. Undoubtedly, one of the most successful food companies of our time. And what a time it's been. Wouldn't it be great if we could just nip back to 1985 to see how it all started? Well, with this baby, we can. Right, now, all we need is some ambient music. Perfect. Lights. 1985. And action. Great Scott! I need a change of trousers!
Recession business back in the 80s together with reasonably priced petrol. The problem is we don't know how these cuts are going to affect us in the future. There is one way to find out though. And there's only one person to ask about the future, Robert Peston. Time for a road trip to meet a few of the people who could be hit by the cuts. So while I leave Joe to swallow not just lunch, but the prospect of the job seeker's allowance, I'm off to meet a young family. Of course, all these stories are repeating themselves across the South, as councils and the government try to balance the books. But the last word goes to the Peston.
Well, John, look, these times are quite unusual. There's an incredible amount of debt bearing down on the British economy, on households, on government, on businesses. But you know, you've got your flux capacitor, you've travelled through time, and you know that Britain has got through much worse times and prospered again.
Mystery guest.
Did I see you on Rainbow? Were you Bungle? You're Jane, aren't you, from Rod, Jane and Freddie? Jane!
Justin!
Can I come and just give you a cuddle over the bonnet of the DeLorean? I have to do this. It's Jane from Not Jane and Freddie, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you. Where's Rod and Freddie? Do you still see Rod and Freddie?
Yes.
You didn't have like a bitter split or a falling out?
No, nothing like that.
Is your real name Jane?
Yes.
They didn't just say we want you to be Jane?
No.
I'm Rod and Freddie, we need a Jane?
No.
When did you meet these other two guys? How did this happen?
Well, I was married to Rod.
Really?
Yeah, and
He
then-
was a lucky get, can I just say? You're not married to him anymore?
No.
Do you wanna
I
take
live
a-
with Freddie now.
That's him. Is that true? I swear to God, I swear. You married Rod,
Yeah.
and now you live with Freddie? I love you. Jane, everybody. Oh, my good gosh. You look amazing. It's Jane, everyone.
Happy birthday, DeLorean. The classic car is 25 years old this week. The experiment and the business might have failed, but for the car's owners, there's still lots to celebrate.
A three-day birthday bash has already started in Northern Ireland, where the DeLorean, of course, was made. And BBC Newsline's Julian O'Neill reports live from the party. Julian, that looks pretty familiar.
Well, yes, you might remember this as being the car where the film star looks. Of course, it's had Michael J. Fox behind the wheel, and getting it centre stage here at the Europa Hotel was something of a feat. Now, the reason it's here is that from tonight, DeLorean owners from all around the world are gathering in what is, of course, the city of its birth. But it's not just one car, it's 70 of them in what organisers of the birthday event say is the biggest ever gathering of its kind. If you want to see these cars up close, tomorrow morning they're at the Odyssey car park, and in the afternoon they're back where we filmed them today at the Lagan Valley Island in Lisburn. On Saturday it's the Folk and Transport Museum at Kiltraw, and on Sunday it's the Giant Causeway and Bushmills Distillery. So from back to the future, it's back to the present in the studio with Noel and Donna.
Lovely stuff. Thanks, Julian.
Should have done.
Had I thought about it last night. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, no way. Oh.
Cut the engine for a moment, Brian. Thank you. Adam, come in. You were up. Lovely. If we had him up when ready, along with Kev, along with Jim and Miguel.